Welcome to the Global Adventure Community with your hosts Jeremy Isom and Bill Becky, where we discuss issues such as leadership, education, adventure, and purpose through serving others.
Welcome to the Global Adventure Community. With me today, we have a special treat. I have Savannah Garrett here. And Savannah is unique because she has been working with Impact Africa and our adventures that we're going to have with Impact Africa. I thought I'd get firsthand experience from her and find out exactly what they do, what she did. She was working for them for several years, and just give the rundown so that the people in our community who are thinking about going on the Adventure Africa and the Global Internship, that they would get a rundown. I actually had met Savannah when I went to Africa and did several teaching sessions with students and met her there, and she was just a real big help. So tell us a little bit about what exactly Impact Africa does and what do they do? What are their programs?
Well, thank you so much for having me. I always love to speak on this thing, and I always love to talk about impact, especially now that I've moved back to the States. So I worked with Impact Africa for 4 years, from 2021, August of 2021, I did my first internship, and it started as a 3-month program, and I ended up moving there and living there up until August of 2025. So I actually recently just moved home. Impact Africa is an amazing organization. I'd highly recommend anybody go there. So I'll just explain a little bit about what they do. So their 3 key words are serve, educate, and rescue. Everything they do pretty much goes through that facet of serve, educating, and rescuing. So they do outreach programs where they meet people one-on-one. They just go house to house, door to door, because every life matters and every person counts. So we want to meet people where they are and reach them with the gospel. So we just knock on houses and introduce ourselves and make friends and learn new cultures and learn what are these people's lives like and how do they connect with my life and how can I make a connection with them, and then how can I make a connection with the gospel with them. And then we've seen so many people get saved through the ministry Impact Africa. So the founders are Rich and Michelle Friends, and they are amazing. They've been doing it for a very long time. But they have a really great evangelism model that whenever you go, they'll train you, they'll host your teams, and they have pretty much just an easy way for everyone to plug into missions. So there's outreach, then there's Impact Baby Rescue, where most of the teams will be passing out flyers to just raise awareness for any pregnant women or anyone knows a pregnant woman that there is help and there's counseling available. Impact Africa helps fight the baby abandonment crisis that's happening in South Africa right now. So high amount of numbers of babies being abandoned just due to moms not having necessarily all the resources that they need.
Wow.
And it is very heartbreaking, but Impact Africa has done an amazing job at preventing that by having an awareness team made of national Africans, and then also a counseling team that also meets with these moms and counsels them through what they're going through, and then a baby rescue team. So any baby that has been abandoned and as a last resort for moms that are struggling can place their babies into the baby safe, and that's Impact Baby Rescue. They also have Impact Kids. So a lot of kids are vulnerable and left on the street during the day. Their parents are at work or things like that. And so they just see a lot of things. So Impact Kids is the school. So they have 5 schools where they are able to provide education. So it works similar to Compassion Child. You can sponsor a kid for $49 a month. When you provide 2 meals a day for that child, you provide education for that child, curriculum, things like that. And these children get a better chance at life because they're educated in Africa and South Africa, because of what Impact Africa is doing. And they also have Impact Students. So they meet with high school kids regularly, and their whole goal is for Africans to empower Africa, to be the ones that lead Africa. So they empower Africans to be able to do ministry. So what they do is they will do youth programs, youth camps, student camps, and they will meet with these kids on the regular, teach them about the Bible, teach them about their identity in Christ, and then train them to be able to go out and be the hands and feet of Jesus in their own cities and in their own neighborhoods. So personally, I think the biggest thing about Impact that sets them apart is that they empower nationals and they empower people from Africa to be able to be a biggest part of the change. because most Africans will connect with people that raised in their communities, but how awesome is it to be able to watch Africans reach Africa? And so I think Impact Africa does an amazing job at doing that.
So how did you end up, walk us through the steps of how you actually ended up going to South Africa the very
Yeah, so
first time?
Impact also has what they call Impact Mission Adventures. So they host trips regularly, and then they host internships regularly. So they have the Global Internship, where you're able to go anywhere from 3 months to 6 months, 10 months. And I had originally found them on Instagram, so I was really nervous because I'm from a small town in Mississippi and nobody that I know has ever been there. I had really been interested in missions, so my heart had been for missions, specifically overseas ministry. And I was at this point in life where I had just finished 2 years of college and things were starting to change for me. A lot of my friends were getting married. It was just an awkward season. I know that the Lord has something for me, and I know that eventually, like, I'm going to need to figure out where I need to settle down and what I need to do. But before I make all these big decisions, I really would want time just for a new perspective and just time specifically to grow in my faith with Jesus. And that is exactly what the internship was for me. Anyway, all that to say, so I had really had a heart for missions. I was in that space of just wanting a new perspective. And I was on Instagram, and I found them on Instagram. They have many pages on Instagram, at Impact Baby Rescue, at Impact Africa. If you Google them or type in their names on Instagram, you're going to find them. So, anyways, I found them on Instagram, and I decided, I was looking over their page, and I was like, wow, I really love what these people are doing. I really love that they are doing evangelism. I really love that they're caring about people that are lost, and I really love that they're preaching the gospel. That not only are they just helping people, but they're bringing the gospel into people's situations, because Jesus is going to help people, and he's the one that's going to save people. And I really liked that aspect of their ministry. So I was just looking into it, and then my family, I was like, I really feel like on my heart that I need to go for 3 months. And I brought it up to my family, and my family, like, we don't know these people. And they're super nervous because, we didn't know anybody. At that time, Impact probably had, like, maybe 15 to 1,700 followers. It wasn't, like, many people at all. Probably more than that, but it was, like, definitely. And it was, like, no way of verifying them. So I told my family, I want to go to Africa. They're like, you have lost your mind. So they scheduled a phone call with Rich and Michelle, the founders. I had already sent an application in and everything because I knew if I didn't get that application, I could chicken out. So I went ahead and did my application and paid my deposit and then told my family. I don't even recommend that one, but that's what I did. So anyways, then I went to my family and had told them about it, and they ended up doing a phone call with Rich and Michelle. Rich and Michelle and the intern advisors that were going to be over the internship. Me and my family got on a call. And they just completely reassured my family, because my family was just worried about safety and raising kids. And, like, my family was worried about safety. My family was worried because I'm their kid. And then Rochelle and Rich were talking about how they raised children in South Africa and how it was a safe environment and how they were parents too. And that really reassured my family. But then they also just talked about they've seen so many people change while they've been on the field, and their lives have changed on the field. And so that even spurred me even more that I need to go. So I ended up getting on the plane and going to, I ended up getting on the plane and going to South Africa. And I remember being on that plane completely freaking out and panicking because I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm going to do this anyways. There's no way I'm turning this 15-hour plane ride back. So I landed. And I remember the first day of ministry, just watching the way that God was using people and watching what the Lord was doing in people's lives, and it completely changing my perspective. Wow, God really can use me. I had never been, like, on a mission trip like that, where I've seen other people do ministry, but I had that impact before, or had that part in doing ministry before, and that completely changed my perspective of, like, myself and how I actually do have a part to play in the world, and I have a part to play in the kingdom of God, and that I can be a part of sharing the gospel and bringing salvation to people wherever I am. And so that trip, I was supposed to be there for 3 months, but I loved it so much that I ended up staying for 4 years because I just believe in the impact that they're doing, and they do an amazing work.
So what was your job that you did for the
Yeah,
past
so I
4
started
years.
off as an intern, so I did it for 3 months, and then I did the internship again for 10 months. I just really love that program because it's really just spiritual growth. Anybody that to
Mhm.
grow in their faith, I encourage you to go on a mission trip. Impact Africa is super safe, and they are a great place to fail too. So if you're learning and you make mistakes or things like that, they'll catch you. And so I think a trip was a great place to grow in your faith, and the internship is a great place to grow in your faith. So, anyways, I did an intern for 3 months, and then I went back and did the internship again for 10 months, and then I went for around about 3 years. And so what I did there was I was the hospitality coordinator. So
Wow.
I did a lot with organizing
Mhm.
for teams to come in. So we had around anywhere from like 100 to 200 ish, maybe more, come through during the months of May to August. Maybe we'd have a team or two come in through the fall, in the spring, and we basically just hosted them like they were family. They stayed on our campus. They stayed and ate meals there and things like that. So I just helped organize the logistics, but Richmond have a great they have a
Okay.
great way of setting everything up. So they have different staff members that help with getting people on the field, but my job was just helping whenever they got there, and I loved it.
Okay. So let me step back just a second. So we are doing an Adventure Africa
Uh-huh.
in South Africa at Rich and Michelle's base. We are also offering the Global Internship that we're hoping to get some of the students that will go in and actually join the exact same internship that you did. Jeremy Isom and myself, Bill Beckman, we have known Rich and Michelle for decades. We went on missions trips with them when we first started back in college days. We know them well. We've supported them throughout the years. And that's one of the reasons I want to get
Mhm.
Savannah on here because Savannah knows all the ins and outs. So, can you describe for us? We'll start with the short
Yeah.
term trip first. What exactly would happen for a short term trip for the people that are watching this video? What can they
Yeah,
expect to happen?
so you get off the plane, there's someone there at the airport to come and get you, so you're not left at the airport by yourself. You're not left. Does a great job of starting the trip and ending the trip well. So you get there, there's going to be an impact staff representative that has the signs that's there to greet you and to transport you back to the mission base. And then at the mission base, there will be a staff member that will give you your room assignments, make sure you get into your housing okay, give you all the rundown about the property and things like that. And then they will take you to your
Hmm?
food. So there's meals provided on Impact's property as well. So you'll have dinner most of the time, have a quick team time, and then sleep. And then the next day is usually, depending on what day it is, you'll during that week you'll have an opportunity to go to a national local church that Impact partners with because they believe in empowering local church. You'll have an opportunity to have a training about the culture and about the ministries, and you'll be able to meet Rich and Michelle, and they can explain more about what they do and their impact in South Africa. But you'll have a training that introduces exactly what your role is that week during the ministry, a schedule for you to be able to know everything you need to know about where you're supposed to be and what times and what time ministry is leaving and all those kind of things and all logistics. And then have an overview of some fun days that you'll have during your trip because they do try and sprinkle in some different fun activities for you while you're in South Africa. And then usually after that training, it's just they want to get you in ministry as soon as possible. So they want to get you to have as much ministry as you possibly can because they know the impact and also so much having so many boots on the ground. So Impact will try and get everybody out on the field. You'll have lunch on the field that's provided by Impact Africa. And then you guys will have national staff you in small groups, usually 3 to 5, bigger, but not any bigger than 10 ever. So usually they'll send you out in small with a national and a team leader, and so you'll have some American staff, some African staff, some interns, and then some of your team all within these small groups, and they'll send the groups off per street, and then you'll just meet with people, use the tools that you have in your training, and then talk to them, and then find a way to talk to them about Jesus or to comfort them with what they're going through. Just find a way to point them to Jesus wherever they're at.
That's awesome. Now let's go into the internship. Could you go into more depth on what like a normal internship
Yeah,
looks like?
so during the internship, you have a little bit longer time with Impact. So it's really nice because you have a long time to get close and build relationships, but you also have a longer time to continue to do ministry and learn how to serve in that capacity and kind of see more of the background of how it works. So usually during the fall internship, I know the August internship, there's classes that go through spiritual growth. So I know in the past, like they've done one on prayer and some just reading the Bible, like different ways that you can grow the foundations of growing in the faith. And then there's also usually a girls and a guy Bible study that's led by intern advisors. During that time, you'll be able to meet one-on-one with mentors throughout your time, throughout your 3 months, just to ask questions about
Mm-hmm.
you specifically and where you're at in your faith and how to grow in specific areas that you want to grow in. You'll be able to make new friends. I met my best friend in the summer internship that I was involved in, and you just build close relationships with like-minded people. I know with college age, like-minded community is such an important thing to have and such a vital part of life, but all that is sometimes missing with people. And so if you feel like maybe your family doesn't
Right.
understand, your friends don't understand your faith, that space during the internship is such a vital part of having a community that you can rely on and you can have those conversations about is really great. And then
Mm-hmm.
you'll have opportunities to go out on the field, do ministry regularly, go to the national local churches regularly, go to more of the westernized churches, do activities like one of my intern years we went zip lining and things like that. It's basically just designed so that you can spiritually
All
grow
right.
and learn the backgrounds of ministry.
So let's go into a little bit more depth on the intern advisor. Tell me more about that. Who's watching over and kind of supervising
Yeah, so
everybody?
the intern advisors are the people that are in charge of the internships. So they are the ones who meet with interns regularly. So they'll plan the intern schedule. They will do pastorally be in charge of the interns. So they're the ones who meet with them regularly one on one, who meet with them sessions or their conferences or whatever they're doing, their instructions, and most of their mentoring will come from the intern advisors, but then a lot of Impact Africa staff will also lean and speak into people's lives as well.
Okay, awesome. I know you've gone through all this. You've worked for
Yeah.
Rich and Michelle. What
So
are you doing?
I'm back at home in the States, and I am definitely still figuring out life. It's not been that long. It's been a little over a month since I've been home, but I'm working at a high school. I absolutely love it. I just get to teach kids
Hmm?
just foundations, reading, English, biology, different things. I'm like a in-school time tutor, so I get to do one-on-one sessions with kids, and then I get to also do
Mm-hmm.
small groups. I'm an interventionist assistant, so I get to help with the intervention side of things in a high school, and I love it.
Yeah, Savannah and I have been talking about our Global College Adventure program, and I've shared with her some of the degree plans that maybe she will use. We'll see, and trying to integrate that. Back to the internship, don't the students get college credit for the internship
So there
program?
is some courses with Impact. I'm not exactly sure which ones, but if you come in the August to December slot, then that internship where you take your spiritual growth classes can translate to certain schools.
Okay,
Yep.
awesome. One thing I want to ask you about is the partnership that they have with the Baby Rescue and to the Tim Tebow
Oh
Foundation. Can
yeah.
you explain that?
Impact Africa has a partnership with Tim and Demi Tebow. They've helped with the Impact Baby Rescue. Rich and Michelle are really good friends with them, with the Impact Africa schools, and then they've also helped with the Baby Rescue.
So, how many babies do you think that Rich and Michelle have personally saved by taking the babies and putting them up for
I'm
adoption?
not sure of that number at all, but I definitely know it's good. It's a good bit because they do try their best to have the homes always ready and try and fill them up. That's their heart is to serve as
Hmm.
possible.
Yeah, Savannah was talking earlier about it's almost like a post office box that at each of the schools and the squatter camps so that the ladies can literally take their baby, drop them off. Rich and Michelle have homes, several homes, where they have nurses that take care of the babies. They then put them up for adoption, work with the local authorities in South Africa, put them up for adoption, and place them. And I personally saw they have put a picture of each person, each baby that they've saved. I saw dozens of pictures on each one of the homes that, in partnership with Tim Tebow Foundation, they've been able to save a lot of lives. So can I just do a recap? So if you're going to go on a short-term trip, you're going to go to do some daily evangelism. You're going to go work in the schools, correct? You're going to go do tell me the Jebel Ali, or what's the Jebel Ali
Jabalani Kids. Yeah,
What is
Outreach
that?
Kids is what they call it now. So that's the kids program.
Yes.
So you just meet kids in different parts of where they live in their neighborhood and the communities, and you will just meet kids, tell them about Bible story, play games with them, teach them Bible verses, just really get intentional time to make sure that they hear the word too and that they know who Jesus is, and to reach them at such that important age.
Awesome. I just want to do a quick summary because I know that there's a bunch of students that are a part of our Global Adventure community that are thinking about going to South Africa this summer, and I just wanted to talk to you so that you could give them some more information. I appreciate you taking the time to talk with us. And anything else you want to share before you
I think
sign off?
everyone should go on overseas, or should go on any sort of mission trip. I think if you're looking for a new perspective, if you're looking for spiritual growth, don't let fear hold you back, because it may seem like a daunting thing, but the Lord's heart is for the Great Commission to be fulfilled. Then what harm can come out of a mission trip? And so I just encourage everyone, there is a blessing to be a blessing to other people. And so I would encourage anyone to take a leap of faith and to sign up for that mission trip, whether it's local, whether it's overseas. I just encourage everyone to be a part of the Great practically in that way, because not only are you getting to serve, but you'd be surprised what the Lord does in your life through that time.
That sounds great. Thank you for taking the time, and we will
Awesome.
talk to you later. Maybe we'll have you on another
Yeah,
future
thank you for having
podcast.
me.